Hi guys, today we are going to do a trace monotype transfer. I think this is the easiest of all the printing techniques simply because all you're going to do is trace over something you've already created. So if you take a look at this screen, you're going to pick out a previous contour line drawing that you've already done. We certainly have quite a few in our sketchbook, but you also may use something that you've created on your own free time. So if you've got something laying around the house, you could certainly use that. We're going to shade the back of your drawing with a thick layer of the crayon that you have from your art kit. We're going to put a piece of paper under that, turn the page, and then we're going to trace or outline around our previous contour line drawing. Super simple, really easy, and a really cool way to create a print going from one surface to another. So let me show you what you'll need today. This one's probably going to not take us very much time. We are going to need your sketchbook turned to a page that has some of your contour line drawings. Remember, contour line drawings are a line that shows the inside and outside edges and ridges of an object without shading. If you have a drawing of your own or you'd like to create one, you could certainly do that. Just make sure it's in the contour line drawing method with no shading. It can be a character. It can be a drawing, it can be anything that you come up with, just should look something like this, or to make things easier, just use what you already have. You're going to need one of your pieces of 6x9 white drawing paper, and I'm actually gonna just cut that in half and use this portion of it. So if you've already cut one of them in half to use for one of your other prints and you have another half, go ahead and use that, unless you are tracing a larger contour line drawing. I'm going to trace this one, which is a smaller one, which will certainly fit on half of a piece of that paper. And here's my 6x9 paper right here. Okay, so I'm going to cut that in half. So I'm going to use my scissors for that if you need them. The other things you'll need are your crayons from your art kit. Mine have their paper peeled off of them because I use these for my coleograph crayon rubbing. Does not matter what color. I have blue and brown. And then a pen. It can be your black ink pen or a ballpoint pen like this. So let me show you what I've already done. So for this one, I did an example of this just to make sure it worked first for you guys. I had my pencil drawing of my lipstick. If you look on the back, I took my blue crayon and I put a nice thick layer of the crayon on the back. I put a piece of paper underneath and traced over it. And here is my monotype transfer print of my lipstick. Now, because it's crayon, you can see there's little pieces of wax on it. That's okay. It's not going to take away from your grade. It is what it is, and that's how it happens. All right. This is also a great way. I do this with graphite a lot. Take a pencil and shade the back of something and then trace over it. And that's a really good way to actually use this as your own DIY tracing paper. But we're going to do it with crayon today, so we have a little bit of color on it. So I'm going to trace around this. So go ahead and anytime you need to, pause the video. Again, you're going to need your sketchbook, a piece of paper, crayons, and a ballpoint or black ink pen. So I'm going to take my paper. If you already have one of your 6x9 papers cut in half, use the small one if you need to. If your contour line object is large, go ahead and use the whole paper. I'm just trying to conserve paper while you can. You can also use scrap paper to test this out as well if you're unsure. All right, I'm gonna make sure this fits. I'm gonna trace this whole thing. I'm not super worried about the entire cast shadow fitting, but I do want to make sure that that fits on there, which it will. I'm gonna turn the page and I'm going to, you can kind of still see the outline of it. I'm going to shade over that with a nice thick layer of crayon. So let me get to that. I'm going to try to work nice and fast. Again, guys, pause this anytime you need to. All right, I'm just making sure I go over all my lines and I don't miss anything. And a thick layer means I'm going to press down somewhat hard to make sure there's enough wax from that crayon that gets onto my paper. That will then transfer, because it's called a monotype transfer, will transfer onto my white paper. And do one more pass at this. Go all the way up, make sure I've covered everything. If you want to, you can try to brush some of those little pieces off. So maybe they won't get on your paper. They're on my hands now. Okay. And now I'm going to go back over here to the front. Let me zoom in just a little bit. And I'm going to place my white drawing paper underneath. Now this is where you have to kind of finagle it and make sure that your drawing is going to be somewhat centered. It doesn't have to be perfect, but somewhat centered. And then I'm going to take my black ink pen, or in this case, I have a ballpoint pen, and I'm going to press down nice and hard as I trace. This will transfer your image from one surface to the other, making the wax print from the back of this drawing onto your white paper. So this is just another really neat form of printmaking. And printmaking is the art of transferring an image from one prepared surface to another. And most types of printmaking, with the exception of monoprints, can be done over and over and over again. So you could essentially do this again if you added some more wax. Now you guys take your time a little bit more than I am. I'm trying to rush because you do not want to see a 10-minute video of me tracing a contour line. So take your time and be nice and neat with it. Okay. You're going to trace over everything carefully. I am putting a decent amount of pressure on this. The more pressure you have, the more likely it will correctly transfer. The harder you press, the more it will transfer. The lighter you press, the less it will transfer, or the lighter that wax will look when it's connected to your paper. All right, and I'm going to trace this. I don't know how far down I need to go. You can kind of feel when it falls off of your paper, but I'll go all the way just in case. All right, before I move it, I'm gonna peek. That looks good. This line isn't super dark, so I'm gonna see if I can make it a little darker. I don't think I put enough wax there. And peel away to reveal my Monotype transfer. All right. Once you get a good print, take a high quality picture of it and turn it into the assignment. Good luck.